So ballot measures. Mary, I invite you to talk about ballot measures, because that's also something that Ballotpedia can really be helpful to research. And perhaps you could start by explaining what it is.
Yeah, definitely. So ballot measures are a little bit more obscure, or I would say, sometimes we're not as informed about ballot measures as we are about candidates that we are voting on. But it really is important to know exactly what will be on your ballot, including the ballot measures. So a ballot measure, by definition, is a law, issue, or question that appears on a state or local ballot for voters to decide. And ballot initiatives are specifically ballot measures put on the ballot for voter consideration through people collecting signatures. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, the process begins when a citizen or a group of citizens proposes a petition and files it with state officials. The state officials then will review the petition, and then if it's approved, give the initiative a title and summary. And the petition is then circulated to obtain the required number of signatures of registered voters. And then if they meet this goal, it's submitted to the state election officials once again, who then organize for the measure to go on the ballot either directly or indirectly via legislative approval. So on Ballotpedia, we have a ballot initiative map that kind of brings you through all of the initiatives within our scope and give you a little bit more information on them. And we have a really great ballot measures team who's constantly updating those initiative pages with opposition and support and additional details as they come out. I would also say that the National Conference of State Legislatures ballot measures database is an incredible resource for ballot measures that might appear on your ballot.
What I find helpful on Ballotpedia is that you kind of explain there's a wording of the ballot initiative, which sometimes is actually hard to understand. It's like,
yeah.
what are they asking? And then I think on Ballotpedia, you almost like translate that. It's like, by voting yes, this is what you're voting for. By voting no, this is what you're voting for. Because sometimes the wording of these ballot measures is such that you're not sure what you are agreeing to, and what will your vote be a vote to further research or explore a possibility, or will it actually be something that will be implemented? So that's kind of a really value add service that Ballotpedia offers to, again, be a really informed voter.
Yeah, I would say that, as someone who's been voting for just about 10 years now, I have found myself in this situation several times where I walk into the booth and I see something that I just can't, I researched it, but I just cannot remember for the life of me what it means. And the wording is a little bit tricky, and I don't know if I should say yes or no. And that's a really just terrible feeling when you're voting, because, it does have an impact. So, that's another reason, just to plug our sample ballot app, My Vote Ballotpedia. You can do the research ahead of time. And like Sylvia was saying, you can go ahead and you can break it down and see our sort of, breaking it down into layman's terms rather than this complicated legalese, is something that all of us can understand. And then you can, favorite that within the app so that when you get into, you get to vote, you can pull it up and see exactly what you had chosen and feel more confident being able to vote.
So Mary, also, on this around researching the candidates, if people find that their candidates or ballot measures are not in Ballotpedia, I think there is a way, right, for citizens to kind of submit or recommend that Ballotpedia be expanded to include those ballot measures or candidates information. Or you can also really encourage your candidate to complete the questionnaire. I think that's one initiative that you guys are working on, and I know that we're emphasizing with Policy Circle members, is to really encourage candidates to complete the questionnaire so that everybody has one place to go and evaluate, the candidates who are seeking our support to represent us.
Yeah, definitely. One of my favorite things is seeing when I pop into our Twitter account, seeing just regular voters like you and me tweeting at their representatives and saying, "Hey, why haven't you filled out Ballotpedia's Candidate Connection Survey? I really want to hear from you." It's really cool to see people, you know, encouraging their candidates to fill it out. And we've actually seen a great number of candidates who are, you know, specifically called out and asked to read it or to complete it. We've seen a great number of them actually come through and complete it, which is really, really satisfying because, you know, it gives you even more power as a voter to say, hey, I asked my elected official, I asked my candidate to fill this out so I can learn more about them, and they actually listened.
Yeah, I think also the other piece about being an active voter is to interact with your candidates. And I know like we don't want to do
Definitely.
that, or they call us, you're like, oh, I don't want to talk. But it's actually really empowering when
Mm-hmm.
you're asking questions to your candidate. You're being friendly, you're asking questions. And this is where, you know, tools like this, or, you know, this candidate scorecard, you can ask question about, well, what is your view on taxes, on property rights, on the role of government? What do you think is the priority? What is the life experience that you are bringing to the table to, you know, seek my vote and represent? It's really empowering. And we have on the Policy Circle, we also have a video and kind of a workshop on how to interact with candidates, which could be really helpful. And
Definitely.
you
Yeah.
become part of the process, and you feel that you're not that government is not happening without you when you go to
Yeah.
the voting booth informed. It's really great, and you have to research it. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
judges every election, or water reclamation board,
Right.
or, you know, like clerk commissioners. There's a lot of different roles that, you know, people are seeking your support, that are representing you, that are impacting how government functions. And being a citizen is not just showing up. In this case, it's being informed.
Yeah.
So I invite you to take that seriously.